Hi, and welcome to the course Introduction to City Planning. I'm Jason Luger. I'm a geographer and city planner, and I'm faculty in the Department of City and Regional Planning at UC Berkeley College of Environmental Design. This is one of 5 courses on city planning, specifically on planning history. This is for anyone interested in the question of why do we study cities, how did we get here, and what can we learn from history about the modern world? So let's take a look at where we'll start. In this first course, we'll explore the development of the city from the ancient world to modern times, around 1900. This journey takes us from the first city of Çatalhöyük, 7500 BC, through some of the ancient cities of the world like Angkor, Tenochtitlan, Rome, and Athens, up to Manchester's factories and Chicago's rail yards. Students in this course will learn about key developments, innovations, and debates in early planning, such as how to deal with sanitation in public space, the advent of the boulevard and the grid of streets, how the Industrial Revolution was such a dramatic and in some cases violent urban transformation. We'll talk about the beginning of reform movements in planning and the way that city planning began to come together as a discipline, bringing together architects, designers, political thinkers, writers, and theorists, and activists into what we now know as planning. In this course, students will understand the evolution of contemporary planning by looking back at previous movements. We'll identify key global shifts in the cultural, economic, political, and industrial relationships and hierarchies between and across different cities. We'll recognize how city planning as a discipline emerged from the ideas of writers, politicians, architects, designers, and social reformers. Those taking this course will compare and contrast the ways that technology and innovations change cities and the way planners must plan for cities, from things like bringing drinking water through aqueducts to things like railroads and automobiles for mobility. We'll critically evaluate how historical planning movements were successful and how we still borrow from these movements, but also how and why they failed and what we can learn from that about how and why cities succeed or fail. And finally, we'll recognize and critically assess the relationships between planning, the economy, politics, and society at large, the way that the Industrial Revolution gave rise to revolutions and transformations in social movements, and make links to our contemporary world. After this introduction, we'll look at ancient cities. We'll then look at Rome and Greece specifically and the innovations in that era. We'll look at how cities rose after the Roman Empire fell, the Anthropocene, the Industrial Revolution, when the built environment began to alter the entire planet. We'll look at the urban revolutions that took place in the 19th century as people scrambled to make sense and chart and define the new modern city. And we'll conclude by looking ahead at the early 20th century and where the next course will go.